Identity is literally a program that is written unintentionally. It's the background software of who we are as human beings showing up. And it creates self-limitations when it's left to its own accord, when it's programmed unintentionally. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of this. One of them comes from my own story of youth. Okay, I was in the 7th grade, which is a socially defining time of life. We all know this, and it was not a great time for me. I was vertically challenged. I was horizontally blessed. I had braces. I had glasses. My mother, bless her soul, she cut and permed my hair, which you shouldn't do, and then she permed the bangs. You don't perm the bangs. Who perms the bangs? I was a disaster. Acne broke out. I mean, if I was the walking, breathing example of why 7th grade should not exist. It was a rough time in my life, and I had this image of myself and an identity of myself that I was the short, chubby, awkward one. I had been the tomboy in junior in an elementary school, and that served me really, really well because I could run as fast and beat up the boys on the playground. But in the 7th grade, when boys were cute, I had no idea how to function. There was not recess. My lifeline was taken from me. I had no idea how to show up in this situation. I don't even know who I am. And so I wake up every morning in a house with 6 kids and 1 bathroom and 5 sisters. Yeah, and I was the youngest, which meant my bathroom time in the morning lived in somewhere in the 32nd land, which was fine by me because I didn't want to look at this and what was happening here for much longer in the mirror than was absolutely required. And I had a very, very hard 7th grade year until everything changed in a single day. It changed in a single day because my older sister, getting ready in the morning, playing her music overly loud, walks out, tells me to walk in, her music is still playing, and I get in the bathroom to do my bad hair and deal with my bad self. And the song is playing, and it went a little something like this: I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love. You guys know the song, right? And here I am doing my bad hair with my bad face and my bad self to I'm too sexy. And I get to school that day, and kids are saying hi to me in the hallway. And I get to science class, and Mr. Hot Pants in my science class told me he liked my shoes, which in the 7th grade was like minor profession of love. I mean, who doesn't know those rules? I was a big deal, and my best friend, she was like, what is up with you today? And I was like, well, I'm too sexy. That's what's happening right here, this right here. Too sexy. I had this realization that in that day, literally everything about my day changed. I mean everything. And yet nothing had changed. My hair hadn't changed. That's for sure. I mean, this bad boy was curling and twirling in all the wrong places. My acne hadn't changed. My glasses hadn't changed. Check the height. Nope. Check the scale. Yep. Nothing had changed, and yet everything changed. Why? Because when I am short, chubby, and awkward was replaced with I am too sexy, all of a sudden, the boundaries of my limitations were gone. I was living in a cage. The door was wide open. How does that show up? Tony Robbins describes it like this. He said, it's like an invisible force that controls your whole life. Invisible like gravity is invisible, but it controls your whole life. How you see yourself. Why didn't I just say hi to people in the hallway before? Why didn't I go sit next to the kids in the lunchroom before? Why wasn't I motivated to go do something different before? Because that identity bound me to that cage of short, chubby, and awkward. I saw myself that way, and I could not and would not pursue activities outside of that. It was too uncomfortable. It was not known. That is what identity is. And identity, in its simplest form, is an actual neuroscience principle. And I want to show you that neuroscience principle today. It's important that you know it, because this isn't just an idea. This isn't just, oh, identity, I've heard that word before. No, identity is literally your character or your personality programmed through neural patterns associated in the brain. It starts with something that we might know about ourselves or a hypothesis that we take on. We then seek for observation, things that we hear and see, and we gather evidence that whatever we thought that was true. Then what happens is we start to act in alignment with that thing. And once we've acted in alignment with that thing, we start to believe it. We start to feel about it just like that. And then next thing you know, that's how we see ourselves. And now that is what we know. This is what is called a neural pathway. I want you to think of every single one of those little steps, what we know, what we observe, how we act, how we feel, and how we see ourselves. These are like little neurons firing in the brain. And when they fire together frequently enough on the same frequency, they wire together. And once they wire together, they literally create a pattern for how you will show up in everything that you do. Why was I this unbelievably confident athlete until I became a 7th grader and claimed a label? And then all of a sudden I was the short, chubby, awkward 7th grader because I observed people who were like, oh yeah, woo, whew, wow, you lay off the donuts. I acted short, chubby, and awkward instead of like an elite athlete, which I was before. And it was literally the change in a label, 7th grader, because I knew what 7th graders were. Doesn't the whole world know what 7th grade is like? I told that story. You guys all laughed. Why? Do you know what 7th grade is like? We have socially defined 7th grade. I need you to think about that because your teams are associating labels that the entire industry has defined. You have taken on labels that the entire world has defined. Things like CEO, owner, insurance agent. Work with me on this. These things have observations. These things have inherent actions, and these things form neural patterns. There are things we know about our agencies, like, for example, what's your retention rate? What's your close rate on a new customer call or a lead call? When that becomes known, we will find observation to make it true. And when we do, we will act like that. And when we act like that, we will believe that that is our limitation. And we'll see that that's who we are.